Sravasti Abbey, the people who are here and who come here, both monastics and lay people, how diverse is that group of people, and how important do you think diversity and inclusiveness are?
Okay. Well, I think diversity and inclusiveness are very, very important, especially for Buddhism to exist in places like America, where it's such a diverse culture. And so I think one thing that's very important is gender equality. So this is a big transition step from the way Buddhism is often practiced in Asia. But the Buddha wanted everybody to get enlightened, and he wanted everybody, so for everybody to get enlightened, everybody needs equal practice opportunities. So I think we need to really open things up in terms of gender inclusiveness. What I'm very pleased about here at Sravasti Abbey is we have a lot of ethnic and racial inclusiveness too. And like I mentioned, you know, I've heard of some Dharma centers because they see most of their people are upper middle class white professionals, you know, and so they feel a need to be more inclusive. But our community has developed in a very, very different way. And, you know, we have some upper middle class white professionals, but not a whole lot. And we have a much bigger cross-section of society. And that's something I really value and I think is very precious. I think part of that comes because I have a very close connection with Asia and with Asians. And I was trained in Asia, and I love Asian culture. And it's very deep in my heart. And so, you know, it's included in here. You know, we're not trying to make everything just American culture. We're trying to include also the good things of Asian culture. And so we haven't had that difficulty. And for example, we have a very good relationship with some Chinese Buddhists who live in various temples around the country. And when we do ordination here, then they will come and help us do the ordination, because you need a certain number of monastics to give the ordination. And so then we have other, you know, Asian lay people who come and you know, take part in our activities. And we have Latinos and blacks coming. And so it's very nice. And some of the people who are here now, we have somebody from Romania, 2 Canadians, yeah, somebody from Israel is here now. So we had somebody from France who wanted to come, but then something happened. So, you know, we really, I value the international aspect and the inclusiveness, because I think it's just more ways that we can learn from each other.
When you teach outside of the Abbey, do you feel that personally, the gender equality issue, what do you experience?
What I experience outside the Abbey in terms of the gender equality issue, it varies from place to place. It really varies a lot. Some places I go and I have to stay in back, and you know, and there's no gender equality, and I pick that up from the beginning, and I play that role because when in Rome you do what the Romans do. You know, I have to be polite and courteous to whoever is hosting me. But then other places, it's very, you know what's very interesting, when you asked when I go travel, you know what's very interesting? There's also a reverse kind of racism where people think that if you are Asian, particularly in Tibetan Buddhism, if you are Tibetan, then you must be very holy and realized. But if you were Western, you grew up with Mickey Mouse like me, so you don't know anything. So it's very interesting. Some places sometimes I'll go to different Tibetan centers, and there will be monastics there that are much junior to me, that are not, you know, or whatever, but they're treated with so much reverence. And I'm just, you know, kind of by the way. So it's really very interesting. So as a Western monastic, you have to learn to be extremely flexible because you never know how people are going to treat you. You know, so you can't have any expectations because sometimes people will be very respectful, sometimes not at all, sometimes in the middle. It's really very interesting.
I even find that I don't know how to behave here as I travel around because watching how other people behave with their teachers, whereas in Korea it's very clear what the status of monastics is.
Right.
And most people adhere to that. And so it becomes very ritualized.
Right.
But here, it's often not what I expect, and I often find I don't know what I should be doing.
Right. And you know what? It's often unclear on the side of the teachers too, because of the cultural difference and of finding ways in American culture to show respect without creating a barrier, you know, because there's different ways of showing respect in different cultures. And then there's also the whole thing in America of getting people to wake up and look outside of themselves. And I think that's one of the ways in which respecting our teachers and respecting the Sangha benefits everybody, whether you're lay or Sangha, because we all have to respect our teachers and we all respect the Sangha, is it gets us to look outside of ourselves. Okay? So when you're eating, you notice if your teacher needs more food. You notice if their bowl needs to be washed. You notice if they're sitting in a comfortable place. It makes you look outside yourself because we are so self-centered that we only look at, you know, well, am I getting the food I want? And am I sitting in the kind of chair I want? And everything like this. So it's very interesting in terms of trying to train Westerners to do that, but without, because Westerners are very sensitive to ego trips and to authority trips, but to get them to see that, no, this isn't ego and authority, it's to help you open your mind to care about other sentient beings, because that's the core of the Buddha Dharma, is caring about others. Yeah, so you start with your teacher, you start with the Sangha, yeah, and then from there it becomes easier to go out to other people.